Thanks to anyone who's watching. This is a piece that I started working on a while ago, and there was one canvas that led me to start painting a whole series of paintings, and they're all in like different stages. And recently I thought I was finished with this one, but then intuitively it came through, and no, I need to spend a little bit more time on this one. And for me, I've really learned how to channel energy very directly. So this one has been very much a piece of balance and feeling into the energy. If you instead of looking at it, just feel the energy of it, it is a very balanced, calm energy. So I haven't worked with crystals for a while. I guess I just wanted to share a bit more about me and, some of the knowledge that I've gained. There for a while, I was using crystals for very specific energies for a while. But then it got to the point that it was actually disrupting my nervous system, and I had to remove all of them from anywhere near my vicinity. So just recently I've started interacting with crystals a little bit more, very specific crystals for very specific reasons, and I'm very in tune with my own energy. So I know I'm very centered and balanced and grounded at the moment. So if anyone's listening to this, what I'd actually really love is for you to just feel my energy. And I'm going to do some painting, and then at some point I'm going to put a bracelet on that I've made, a crystal bracelet that I've made. And I want you to feel the difference in my energy, because I made this bracelet months ago, and it's for a very specific reason, but I'm actually curious who can tune in and sense the difference in my energy, because you'll actually feel the frequency of my voice change when I put it on, because that's how much energy affects us, is it will change the frequency that we emit. So at the moment, if you're listening, if you were to lay back and just listen and feel instead of listening to the words, just feel the frequency coming through my voice, it would actually help to really center and ground, because that's the energy that I'm putting out at the moment. And I just wanted to bring people's awareness to it, because everything we interact with affects our energy. So everything we read, everything we watch, we're always absorbing and transmitting energy. So the more mindful we are of what it is that we're consuming, the more aware we are of what is beneficial and what is detrimental. So I'm very specific now, because I have severely adverse reactions to the wrong things now. I will get physically sick around the wrong people. I can watch different things online, and I know I will feel physically sick. I'm that impacted energetically now, because I found what I do is, when I experience any trauma, I go into basically complete isolation mode, and painting has actually helped me to figure out what it is that I do and explain it, which is I give myself the time and space to just be with myself and allow myself to mentally process what it is that I was experiencing, why I was experiencing it, why I chose to experience it, and make sense of it. And, a good example of that is, if anyone thinks about any event that was really heartbreaking back in any moment of their life, if you go back to that experience, you can remember, say you lost a loved one or a bad breakup or anything, doesn't matter what it is, it's all the same emotional feeling. But if you go back to that moment in your mind, you'll actually remember how broken you felt at the time. But then as time goes by, you come to accept it and understand it more. whether on a conscious or subconscious level, we are always aware of everything that's happening. So what I've learned though is I've learned how to tap in and read my subconscious and understand what it is that is in my subconscious, which has then allowed me to teach myself how to heal my own traumas. Because I realized no one has lived my life, so no one can actually fully comprehend what it is that I've experienced. And after having a near-death experience, that really highlighted it to me, because I was looking online for, self-help and different trauma counselors and all of these different things. But I'm like, they're still talking in a sense where they're still projecting their own insecurities and traumas from other things that are completely irrelevant. So I actually found myself analysing them more about their own traumas and what they had going on than what I was there to try and get from them. But by doing that actually allowed me to understand how to do that for myself, because my whole life I've done that for everyone else. I've always been able to just read people and understand just energetically what they've got going on and why and where it stemmed from. And I was always subconsciously doing it with myself, but I didn't understand what I was doing until I really looked at myself so thoroughly and understood the reasoning behind all of my actions, all of my choices. And I've got to the point that I can basically run a life review now and go back to any moment of my life and understand why I chose to experience certain things, or why I manifested certain experiences or interactions with different people. So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to explain that so there's a bit more context of what I'm talking about. And so I'm very specific with what energy I work with in each painting. And the ones in this series are, I've actually found a way to embed energy into my artwork so that for people who want to heal, it's basically going to, and if they look at the paintings and then really feel into the paintings, they will actually be able to bring up certain trauma patterns for them to witness and observe, and then look at the next painting, because I'll just basically write a brief description of what each one does. Like, one's going to be very much surfacing unhealed, suppressed traumas. This one's a very balanced one. Then there's one that's going to be very energizing. So they're all serving a different purpose, and there's still more to come. So yeah, I just wanted to share what it is that I'm painting, because they're not just a painting for me, and that's why they take me so long to create as well, because I have to mentally process each part of the journey to be able to then infuse that energy into the paintings. So I know that some people, I mean, I had a friend in overseas, and she asked for a commission piece months ago, and I still haven't been able to do hers. I've only just started preparing the canvas for hers, because I thought a couple of times that I was painting hers, but then it turned out that it wasn't. But she sent me on a very sacred inner journey, and I've discovered so much about myself and how I can intentionally live and intentionally do things. And yeah, it's brought so much self-awareness to me that I didn't even know was possible. So yeah, that, and I've realized that I can basically allow myself to step out of the way and channel directly through my subconscious. So I'm not actually sure what I was saying just then, because I was just in channel mode, and then I sort of have come back. So I'm that aware of my subconscious that I can allow my subconscious to speak, which is a conscious choice when I do it. Which I don't know if that many people will understand what I just said, unless it's something that they do themselves. But yeah, I'm gonna do some more top dotting on these gold bits, because I had it out there preparing it ready to clear coat, and I'm like, nah, it's not finished. So I thought I'll just share a little bit of this journey with everybody, um, and yeah, then at some point I will put that bracelet on, which I'll put it next to me. So I think I'll just do some painting. I'll get this paint mixed and then do a little bit of painting, and then I'll put it on, and I'll see if you can sense the shift in my energy. And that's why I also don't talk very much while I'm painting, because I'm purposely channeling energy. So I put all of my attention on there, that I basically just block out absolutely everything else. And it's the same as why I add, all of these random little bits of different colours into the paint, because each paint holds a very unique frequency. So I very much tune in to the frequency of the colour. And like I've mentioned before, I mentioned it in a more basic level, that, there's different flecks of different metallic flakes in these paints. But it goes a lot deeper than that. I guess I'm getting more... I figured it's time to start sharing more of, instead of just the surface level explanation of things, and so people can get a bit more of a better understanding of what it is that I do and what I'm creating here. Yeah, that's hard to see with the light. And I guess I've kind of finally come to the realization that I'm never going to be for everybody, so people can just take me or leave me, because that was one of the hardest mistakes I learned, is not being my authentic self. People are always going to like or dislike us, and I spent my entire life people pleasing, and now I'm living for me. And if people have an issue with that, well, that's not my issue anymore. Because I was miserable when I was a people pleaser, and I refuse to do that anymore. So if you want brutal authenticity, feel free to hang around. And even energetically, the Liquitex gloss medium to me feels a lot more fluffy energy. It's really hard to explain. And then the Jo Sonja medium is more of a flat feeling. Sometimes the words escape me for trying to describe a feeling, because everything has a very distinctive, unique frequency. which I mean, I can be writing a Facebook post, and I can feel different people that are going to read it and what they're going to think. So, which actually reminds me that there are scammers and schemers out there. I only have the YouTube channel Jamie Miller Inspiring Life. My personal Facebook page is Jamie Miller Living, and then I have Jamie Miller Inspiring Life Facebook page, and then I think it's Jamie.m.living on Instagram. They're the only accounts I have. I will not message people for money. I will not. Yeah, I won't ask anyone for anything. So if you're getting messages from someone pretending to be me, it's not me. And if you're seeing my videos or my posts on other pages, then they're not mine. Because, there's a lot of people doing a lot of scamming at the moment. So I don't want anyone to get sucked into handing over money to someone that's not me. Yeah. And you'll always feel the frequency in my voice change, the frequency and the tone whenever I drop into my subconscious and let it speak. A lot of people out there will channel different spirits. Me personally, I will only channel my subconscious. I will not allow anything else in my vessel. Just looking on the camera, see if you can even see the colour difference. That's the only problem with the LED lighting. It seems to wash out the colour a bit. I was I've noticed a trend in a lot of the artwork communities, the dot work, that there's a lot of people that don't. They're going through the same thing that I was going through a while ago, and they're only really paying attention to their flaws in their artwork. And there's people out there creating incredible artwork, and they can't even see it for themselves because they're doing what I used to do. They would just, focus on their imperfections and that's all they see. Whereas I learnt how to widen and shift my perspective and just see past all the imperfections. I did actually read someone wrote a really good idea in one of the groups at some point that if all you can see is your flaws, put your artwork somewhere and then like walk a few feet back, take a few steps back, and then look again, and you'll see something completely different, which would be a really good idea for anyone that's struggling to look past the imperfections. Like me, I can point out all the imperfections in all my artwork, but I don't even look at them anymore. I'm just like, they're just part of it. Because I realized I was looking at other people's artwork and I was like, wow, this is absolutely breathtaking. And then I was like, I wonder if they're actually like flawless. And the more I looked at it, the more I zoomed in, the more I was like, oh wow, they have the same imperfections that I have. And then I realized I'm like, oh my God, they're still talking about it the same way I'm talking about it. That they're only seeing their imperfections. They're not seeing it the way I see it. And it was the same deal for me. I wasn't seeing what other people were seeing in my artwork until I started to just ignore the imperfections and just be like, I'm a human. I'm not a 3D printing machine like that's a robot. So they're not going to be completely flawless. And especially with mine, like there's so many different layers of top dots and all of these things. Like there's so much to look at that you've really got to study and pay close attention to see the imperfections when you aren't the one that's created it. So that's really allowed me so much more creative freedom by letting go and just trying different things as well. So that's another thing. A friend of mine reached out recently and she shared that her sister-in-law had done a painting which she had shown her one of mine. And when I received this photo, it touched my heart so deeply because she'd taken inspiration from one of my creations. It's actually the first canvas in this series, and she incorporated a lot of elements from that, and it touched me so deeply that someone saw so much in my artwork that they wanted to replicate some of it, which just, yeah, there's no real words to describe the experience. And I know that she'll probably watch this video. Um, and I truly appreciate that feedback of receiving that photo. And, for her sister-in-law has only been dotting for a couple of months maybe. And to see how good she is for how little the amount of time she's been doing it was just like, wow, she's got some serious potential. So, yeah, I just don't ever be like, don't ever underestimate how much you can positively impact other people by just sharing your artwork and stuff. Like I do it all the time. I see I swear every time I go on any of the dotting pages on Facebook or YouTube and watch someone's dotting video, every time I'm like, oh my God, like there'll be just, this tiny little thing that they'll do and I'll incorporate that little tiny thing and it'll just change the entire way that my paintings flow and look. And, it's like that sun dotting that I was doing. I was trying to create something and then just it ended up going somewhere completely different. So I just allow myself to go with the flow and whatever ends up coming out comes out. But, we all get inspiration from everyone. So I never when I first started painting, I never thought other people were going to take an interest in my paintings and then replicate bits and pieces of it. And every time I see someone that has, it gives me the warm and fuzzies. And it makes it so worth it. And then there's other people, like a friend who's got sensitivities to paint at the moment. So, yeah, she said she enjoys watching me paint. So I thought, well, if there's one person out there that appreciates me just chucking the phone on and hitting record and then upload, it's, that's why I'm not editing videos. Not of dot work anyway. I've actually got a recording that I took at the beach that is still it's at 69%. It's a huge file that I'm uploading. It's a 10-hour long. Basically use it for relaxation and meditation. Of when I was at the beach the other day, I took a recording and I edited it just because I edited I recorded a couple of minutes, and then I edited it to extend it in a loop, so it's over and over looping to go for 10 hours, so that if people want to listen to something at night and just have it playing in the background, they can just chuck it on. And sometimes when I've really been struggling with healing traumas, it really helped me to have something calming just to calm down my central nervous system, because it's so important to find ways that we can calm down the nervous system. Because when the nervous system is dysregulated, it causes so much. Like, it'll cause mental, physical. It's a vicious cycle that you've got to break. Because it all just like loops in on itself until we bring awareness to it and then acknowledge it, and then we can start to understand it and then release it. So that's why I've started to do some videos like that. And if you do happen to watch it, I would recommend listening to it and then feeling it, and then you'll actually be able to use your other memory senses to sort of smell what the beach what you remember the beach to smell like, and all of the other sounds that are there. So that's the way I would recommend using it. Right. that's pretty good, but I'm feeling like I'm going to need a little bit more paint, so I'd always rather mix too much than not enough, because I can always reuse it in another project. The Liquitex is really good to help with the big puffy dots. Just helps them stop cracking and stuff as much, which you could, I don't know if you can see it on the video. Yeah, I think you can. You can see that these dots aren't super smooth. It's like they've distorted a little bit. That's because when I was painting this, it was actually a really hot night and the paint was drying too fast, whereas today it's cooler and humid because it's raining, so it's actually a lot nicer temperature for the paint, which I'm not going to go all the way in. Go. Yeah. I thought as I go in, I'm going to start fading them out. And I've actually just realised just that bracelet sitting near me is having an impact. So I might chuck it on and see if you can feel how much my energy starts to shift the longer I've got it on. Because I can feel it instantly. And that's something else I've learned as well is people call them different chakras and all of these. There's a lot of different names. I've got my own beliefs on that stuff, but there are obviously different types of energy. And I've learnt that I can specifically engage and channel whatever frequency I want to emit, either by myself or with the use of tools like crystals. I very much look at crystals and artwork and all of these things. They're just a carrier of energy, and like everything is, because everything is basically energetically based. And so this bracelet is in particular a very much like it. If you were to visually see it, it's like someone grabs my heart and just opens it like a pair of closet doors. It pretty much just opens my heart wide open, which some people would refer to that as like the heart chakra, versus other people would refer to earlier as more of a like root chakra, grounded. But it's just a specific energy frequency in my mind. And everyone everyone's entitled to their own beliefs. Same as religion and spirituality and all of these different things. I won't tell anyone to what to believe or what to think. They can figure out whatever it is that they want. I I don't fit in any box in any form of my life, so I certainly don't expect anyone else to. And I stopped accepting projections, so I just do. I just subscribe to my own thing. I don't, for me, I believe in free will, universal law, and those type of things. Cause and effect, karma, many different words for the same thing. But yeah, they're just my personal beliefs. And that right there was when I dropped into my complete flow state. I just switched off and it's when I can just go from dot to dot and I don't even have to think about lining it up. I just know it just will land in exactly the right spot. Usually takes getting going for a little bit and then I can just drop into the flow. But speaking throws me out of it. All right, I think I'm going to turn the video off and continue this solo. I hope everyone has an awesome day. I've also chucked up a video on some information on candles if anyone finds that useful, because I spent a lot of time making candles and thought I'd share some tips and tricks for people to get better, longer burn times, more scent throw, and also burn them more safely as well, because there are obviously some potential dangers with candles. So yeah, I think that one's probably finished uploading by now, so I'll there's probably a few videos that'll go up today. Yeah, I hope everyone has an awesome day, and I will record something whenever I feel like it.